You know the rules, boys. It's the Buy, Hold, Sell show, joined by Cord and the one and only Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys.
Always warrants a clap. I don't think you've ever been on the podcast.
Yeah, welcome, Mills.
I haven't. This is my first time, and I'm really excited.
I
I
define
can
you
hear
as
that in your voice, mate.
Yeah, I define you as an inconsistent fantasy player. Some years you just don't play, and other years you're well into it.
Yeah, thanks. I've probably played it for about 4 or 5 years in a row, and then again probably haven't played in the last 3 years. Just got too busy, but back at it now and dominating.
Millsy, tell me about your
Life.
where
start from the beginning.
no. Tell me where your
It was a
line.
late December night. 2000.
Where does your allegiance lie now, Mills? Like, you are a Broncos fan through and through. You're now wearing the Redcliffe jersey. Just tell us, like, why have you changed teams and why the shift from the Brisbane CBD to Redcliffe?
Yeah, look, truth is, Broncos were just shit.
You regret it.
And I had a good enough reason to switch over because I didn't want to see them lose again. And then first year after I switched, they make the grand final. But either way, great choice because first on the ladder right now is the Dolphins.
Very
Chris,
true, mate.
I remember you defining it as I just don't like what the Broncos are building right now.
Oh, mate,
Next
it's so
year they
true.
make the grand final.
It's so true.
The Dolphins are on top of the table, so you can't really complain.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Now, boys, obviously we better discuss the buy, hold, sells. There's a few. I'll just first talk about your team specifically, Chris. 4,000 coming.
Yeah, doing okay, I guess. Better than the all-out team, so that's all that matters.
Do you have any
That's
earnings,
everyone,
mate?
mate.
Do you have any earnings?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah, watch yourself, buddy.
Yeah, you're right, Mick. There is a few buys this week and a few sells, I'd say. And there's also something that we like to do on this podcast called the hold segment because there's a lot of them, including Lachlan Galvin. What do you think of his performance on the weekend, boys? Because I gave it quite a rap on the podcast on Tuesday.
I think he's a star.
You know what I said to Benz? I said he's Toby Sexton, but with opportunity.
I think that's an awful comparison. I think he's kind of like a Tommy Dearden in the way he runs the ball. Bit of Jack White and bit of dog in him. But I think it's going to be confusing for the Tigers next year, especially when Luai comes.
Yeah, look, he's obviously killing it. To be honest, I think there's a chance Caesar goes out next year. The way the play he's been playing, if Luai's coming in, or they look to maybe shuffle it around differently. But yeah, Galvin's been killing it so far. It's really unfortunate after probably his best game of the season that he's had this unfortunate hip drop tackle, 2-week suspension. But we're excited to see what he'll do in 2 weeks' time when he gets back.
Fantasy wise, he's definitely going to be, in my opinion, looks like the cheapie of the year. 2 weeks out. I think he's definitely a hold, as you said.
Yeah, he is. He's got a break even of -1, I believe. And Millsy's right. He is an absolute stud. And I also see Caesar dropping out next year, and he's someone that you could build a club around. And with Buller, Galvin now, Luai coming, and you also got like Isaiah Papali and Bateman. Things are looking up at Tales of Tigerland. So
Madge must be like, fuck.
top 8 next year.
Nah, mate, they'll come ninth.
Top 8 this year. Top 8 this year, mate. Top 8 this year.
No, they're going well.
I'll go back to the buys. We were definitely looking for the all-out team at this guy, Carrigan.
Look, we would have got him if we didn't think our logic was to get a half.
Yeah.
Like, our logic was to get a half and see how Brown goes, but we didn't want to risk not getting a half.
I think the main thing with our trades were the Dragons stink. We're going to get Turbo and put the C on him.
Yeah, we
It
discussed
was
this.
a great decision, boys, wasn't it?
We discussed this.
I think
I said on the Instagram last night, someone asked who was the captaincy options, and I'm going Turbo again.
I actually
Right, so-
predicted the Dragons to win by 20. The cameras just went on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carrigan, I think he's still a great option, especially with Haas out. He's a 60-plus guy every week almost.
Yeah.
80 minutes as well. And the next guy, if you're shoring up your middles, Carrigan and Tohu Harris, Chris. I know Cordless mentioned him in the preseason pod, and you've actually bought him.
Yeah, Cordless was real big on him in preseason, and I decided to take his advice, and I had him in from round one. If only Cordless took that advice Tohu's just been killing it. And,
Yeah.
take away one HIA affected game, mate. He's a 60 average, and he
With
won't
all
do
due
anything worse than
respect,
that.
if Mills took my advice every week, he'd be about in the top 100.
Mate, I listened to it this week and did Captain Hines, so I was happy with that. But yeah,
Respectfully, is saying Toe Harris is a buy in the preseason actually that good of a take? Because
Yes.
isn't he good at fantasy every year?
Yes, and he's injury prone. He's injury prone.
Yeah, true.
He was in like 1.8% of teams. So if anything, I was just reassuring that he was going to be good, and he is. So
I respect that.
such a hero take, but you didn't buy him yourself, so let's just.
you know what? You hate to love it.
We
So-
shall move on, Chris. This guy actually is a genuine pod. He ate last week. Nat Butcher. What did he get? He's priced at, I think, 680. Got 65 tackles. Is he like a pod option, or is it just one you go, oh, I don't trust the Roosters' edges?
You know, I was big on Nat Butcher during the preseason. I probably had him in before I got into Harris, and then when it came to that round one and he wasn't there and things were looking very shaky with the Roosters' edge, I just didn't want. I don't think we should risk it. He could be starting this week. He could be starting next week. He could drop back to the bench. We have no idea. Trent Robinson's really liking to screw everyone around here, and.
Yeah.
First Siwa Wong, Satili Tupanu, now Angus Crichton and Nat Butcher. So
I personally think Trent Robinson used to be a fantasy player and he got screwed around a bit by coaches. And he's just decided to screw everyone else.
mate, it explains the whole Mitch Orbison saga with him. So
Yeah.
he just loves a trap in the second row.
picking Wong and then dropping him. Yeah, look, I think Butcher isn't a bad option as Cordless needs a Clarentine.
It's so push.
65 tackles. Like, I think he'll get you 60s one week and then 30s the next week. So
Yeah, well, we got 80 minutes the other week against the Rabbitohs. He's only got 41. But look, if you want to take the risk, take the risk. It'll do a job.
Now, a bit cheaper options. He also has dual status, I might just add, which is
Yeah.
handy, very handy. A few options a bit cheaper that have been killing it. Flegler. He's playing 50 minutes, but his output is very impressive. He got 58 in the weekend.
Did he
Thoughts
score a
on him?
try again on the weekend?
No, he didn't.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Did he get a try assist though? I feel
I
like
think
there
he
was
might
some
have got a try.
attacking stats
Yeah.
that inflated that. So that's why I was
Good
a little
boys.
cautious on it, but
I think he got a few offloads.
Yeah, he got a
which
try
you know
assist
he
on the
can.
weekend.
yeah.
58. And he scored in the first round with 56 and 48 without a try. You know what? Flegs, well done. That's enough said.
I
Well
think
done,
he's
Flex.
a decent option.
Can I just say...
I'd rather spend a bit more on the Tohus.
Can I just say, I know I'm definitely no NRL coach, but do you boys think that, like, the Broncos have sort of lacked that punch through the middle this year? Like, Herbie and Flegler did so much running last year through the middle, especially Herbie. And, like, this year, I just think they're lacking. Like, they're just lacking that forward momentum through the ruck. Don't you guys reckon?
Well, you can't deny how well they played.
You can, but they played the Cows in the wet, by the way.
Yeah, I think they definitely will miss that. I think Payne Haas coming back is like he's still able to carry.
I think they're still just adjusting. Obviously losing Payne Haas, but they've got a lot of young front rowers who are still really new in their NRL careers, so they're still adjusting to really trying to eat up that middle. Flegler's had a few years to develop, so he was looking really good for them last year. But you know, right now with Haas out, Carrigan's having the whole entire forward pack on his shoulders.
I'm not a big Kobe Hetherington guy personally. Who else
think he
they
does
get
a
from the
job.
Roosters?
Fletcher Baker.
Fletcher Baker.
Fletcher
I
Baker,
don't
yeah.
think they're not going to replicate really what Flegler does.
Yeah, I think
another
Flegler's
one-
playing really good footy. So
He is
yeah.
playing good footy. Joshy Curran, he's now starting on the edge. Finally. How long does it take Serraldo to get the man starting? Is a bit of a worry if that bench guy replaces him. But if he plays 80 minutes, then
I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Like, have you guys break even up there in the all-out team?
No, but his average edge is 54.
Yeah, I'd be getting him. He's actually been eating off the bench, and like he comes off the bench and then just plays the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He's got 47, 56, 40, 41. I don't know if it's justifiable to get him at 586k for those minutes.
Yeah.
So
Break
Preston's
even of 36, I believe.
Preston's only out for 2 weeks. I'd probably avoid him, honestly. Even though without that, I'd be avoiding him.
I don't mind it. Like, if he gets 80 minutes on the edge for a couple of weeks and then he goes back to what was he doing, 40s to 50s, it's not that bad of an option.
Yeah. I like the other guy, though, KPP. I bought him last week. I said on the podcast that he was a buy last week. I said to Millsy on the way here, he's not, your David Fafita like that you would think that he would be on the edge. He doesn't really run the ball with much athleticism. He doesn't look like he's in there for the tackle bus offload, but man, is he getting through some work. Like he got 53 points last week purely just off base stats and being a mongrel.
I think it's
80 minutes as well.
Despite what you said, he gets through some work, but versing the Dragons this week, I think he might get more opportunities to bust through the line and get some tries.
Yeah.
I think he definitely does need, though, to make some serious cash. He definitely does need that one bigger score. You know, he can average 50, high 40s, low 50s. It'll make a little bit more cash, but if you really want to make some true value, and if you're getting on him this week and you really want to make some more true value, we probably need to see that big score to really drop that break even lower.
I'd say this one next week to be the last week to get him.
Yeah,
otherwise
100%.
it'll just be like too expensive. Right, 665k last week, 61 points. I think he was very impressive, and the pairing with Gutho, without Moses, they are elite.
Yeah, the stats didn't lie there. We probably did overlook Gutherson a little bit. Like we didn't even touch about him last week, but yeah, Bags was good. I thought he played very well despite not having attacking points at all, and he still got 65 or something. So I'd be getting him in your team. He only went down a little bit of money, right? He didn't even gain money. So
I think he lost 10k.
Yeah, so I think this is the week to get him.
Yeah, 100%. He's obviously going to. His history's proven it. He's going to be scoring well over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, however long Moses is out. But as you said, you guys did sort of gloss over Gutho last week. Very similar to D-Bags. Over the past 4 years without Mitch Moses, Gutho's averaged 60. So right now he's priced at about a 42 average, right? So there's potential to be looking at 100, 150k plus, maybe even potential keeper status there for Gutho if he can maintain that. But there's a lot of range there, a lot of value that you can find in getting Gutho over these next few weeks.
Yeah, speaking a lot of sense, Mills.
I know a lot of people would have bought Fogarty, but yeah, I think Bags would be the next best option there. Cheapies this week. I know.
Yeah, disaster.
Me personally, there's only one real option to downgrade. I'm downgrading Lussick. I've had enough. I don't care if he plays.
No, I'm with you there, Mick.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Cleary in as soon as possible. Talagi from Eels. He's at 301k. He impressed at half. Actually got pretty decent amount of ball. Best option.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I got Fuyaki last week and he let me down. He didn't even play the full 80, I don't think. So
did you say it's just don't bother with Finau Fuyaki?
No, not anymore. Not anymore. I wouldn't get him. He's break even. He needs another good score, like a 55, to avoid plateauing down. Just at that 400k mark, so I'd be avoiding him now.
Yeah, and especially with Todd Payton threatening to make changes after their lackluster performance. You never know what's going to happen.
There's a few coaches you can't trust, listeners.
Finau Fuyaki could be within one of his last weeks in the team if the Cowboys don't start performing. So
normally this is like the no team go. Robbo, Todd Payton,
mate, Ricky Stewart.
Ricky Stewart is number one.
He is a weak-gutted dog when it comes to fantasy selection.
There's your top three, and you could probably go on like Dez is he's pretty bad, and Brad Arthur, of course.
I think all of them really.
Yeah. No. There's
they
some
all have
ones.
their moments.
There's some
loyal I'd say
ones.
Ricky is the main one for me.
Yeah. Anyway,
mate, last year, like picking Corey Horsburgh some weeks, and then just all of a sudden he's not getting picked.
Yeah. There's more people there like Ponga. I think if Ponga is the one, if there's a week to get Ponga, it's this week. 705k.
I was just going to say, like, last week, the All That team, we couldn't decide between Teddy and Turbo.
Lucky we went Turbo, I guess.
I think in hindsight, me personally, I got Ponga and D-Bags last week. I think it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because Ponga's got an easy draw coming up, 705k. I think they finally realised, maybe if we want to win, we need to pass this fucking guy the ball.
Well, you never know. Jackson Hastings is back, so we could be dropping
Blue helmet. But yeah, I think another niche option. Oh, he's not niche. I wouldn't say that. Hammer's been killing it.
Yeah, has been killing it.
I've had Hammer and Ponga from the start. Of course, there was a couple average weeks there, but they've really performed the past two. So yeah, really happy with those.
Concern with Hammer is if they verse a tough team like Storm or Penrith, I don't think he's going to score that well.
Yeah, he's had a soft draw.
I guess holds this week, similar to last week. It's like a lot of people's teams are decimated. So like if you got a green dots, ideally you hold them, but specifically I've written down Galvin like we talked about before, and Willison I know is in a lot of teams. What are we doing with players like Burbo, for example, Salmon. Are those guys worth trading?
For me personally, Salmon's been affected a lot by injuries. I think in more than half his games, he's had to be shifted out to the centres, or he's just been put out of position. So that's something I'm considering, that when he actually starts getting some good quality time at second row, he's going to be playing a fair bit and he's going to be scoring a fair bit. But the more he gets shifted out to centres with injury during the game, that's what's causing a lot of these low scores for me. Burbo, on the other hand, he's had 2 average scores in a row. His minutes keep on dropping. He played 49 minutes on the weekend. I think I've had my time with him. And I enjoyed that first 50, but it's time to go, Burbo.
Yeah, in reality, the quicker you get Burbo and Strange out of your team, the better. Like that's just how.
With respect to Burbo, his comparisons a few years ago were a mix of Tommy T and a mix of Jakey. I think it's a mix of their worst traits. Respectfully, of course. Right, we'll move on to the sells. Hosking, I think you were pretty lucky with what you got out of Hosking, but it's time to sell. Unfortunately.
Yeah, he's got to go.
He has to go as well. Another one is Tupanua. I think he hasn't looked that good, to be honest, and he deserves to be moved to the bench.
Don't touch a single Roosters edge. That's my opinion.
I'm not touching.
What about Gus Bus?
I'm not touching him. I'm not touching all of them.
Bring me back Gus Bus at Rabbitohs on like his rookie
Yeah,
year.
it's quite concerning because we know how good Gus Bus can be. He was one of the greatest fantasy players of all time that year. In fairness, that year at the Rabbitohs, but you just can't trust Robbo. You can't trust the Roosters edge.
No, 100%. We were speaking about Bellamy before, and his annoying coaching. Chan, probably warranted, is not picked. Is he one you just sell?
Look, if you like me and you got Wong in your team still and Piakora, you'd be inclined to hold them. But there's just no one to go to Chan. Like, you go to Blaze Tulagi, yeah, maybe you could do that. Like, what? Would you just go straight to Blaze Tulagi?
Yeah, if you can.
Yeah.
15k more, 100%.
You probably do that. But, I still got Wong on my team. I still got a few others, but I got to sell.
Just generally, there is an absence of cheapies this year.
Absence.
The mid-ranges are the key.
Thank God Lachlan and Galvin exist.
He's carrying
I appreciate you, mate.
He's carrying the class of 2024.
I don't appreciate the hip drop tackle. I appreciate everything else.
We all make mistakes. He's younger than us, which is a weird thought.
Yeah.
18.
But the man we also got here down as Smithies.
I saw him. I didn't want to mention his name. I'm sick of him as well.
Smithies can go. Man, any danger of the carry? Like,
I didn't want to make comparisons to a certain other man close to us good at ghosties. Chris used to love a ghostie back in the day.
Oh, man, Ghost Run. I killed it. I sold well, brought in 3 defenders with me, so much space outside, but unfortunately no fantasy stats come from it.
It's something on the footy field you have to do. But in terms of fantasy, we really don't like seeing that.
I think you should be looking to get a point for how many defenders you draw in. It's just such a great play
Outside
for the team.
foot up, 0.5 points.
if there was a point for most decoy runs, Smithy would win.
Decoy run, 0.1 points.
And the other one we got down here is Lussick. Now, I'd mentioned on Tuesday, Lussick's first half performance was one of the worst dummy half performances I've ever seen in my life.
Stop going short to the lead forward runners and go out the back to D-back.
And stop going right. Go left. Like, oh my God.
Hookers can be the most frustrating fantasy players to watch, I'd say, if they're not getting through a ton of work. Oh, mate.
There was another one that always used to go like the wrong way. There was it'll come to me. But there was one player
Blake Brayley?
No, not Blake Brayley.
Yeah, look. I think he'll play 80 unless they move hands, obviously.
Yeah, he will play 80. If he can chalk up 50, we're back.
If you can hold and he can't really think of better options, I think he'll be fine.
I'm holding.
Now, this is the big question. This is why we're decent fantasy players, I'd say. We're thinking ahead. Now, Hines and Cleary are obviously must-have players. Chris, you already have Hines. How do we get those players back in our team, Cord?
Hines, you said?
Both.
Oh, both.
If we can.
Look, it's almost at the point where you just got to wait for an injury to trade someone in to get Cleary and Hines. My thinking is that, well, for my head-to-head team, I kept Cleary. So I'd only need to get Hines in. Yeah. I only need to get Hines in. My sort of theory is that we can either wait till Hines has his bye and he might be playing in Origin, who knows yet, or you just get him straight in. you just can't afford to chalk up your team just to get Hines in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. I think there's a few players where they're easy downgrades. Like, for example, I got Adam Elliott.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to be a keeper for me. Easy downgrade.
You just got to wait for the downgrade opportunities, but there's not many downgrade opportunities to
Yeah.
go down to.
The
So,
tough ones, like I'll give an example. Like someone like Karaz. It's like they're inconsistent. You know you want Cleary, but you just got to decide: do you really want to just screw up your depth for Cleary and Hines? It's up to you.
yeah, it's a tough question.
So yeah, for me on that, I'd be looking at obviously a fair few rounds from now, but someone like Terrell May, who eventually he's going to lose his minutes and he's no longer
he's a
he's
good
no
one.
longer going to be a keeper soon, but he'll still be at that good value.
Well, he
Look
very
at-
well
look
could be
at-
a keeper.
I just feel like his minutes are going to go down eventually, and he just won't be able to churn out the points that he
Yeah.
has been getting. But some of those guys who are sitting in the mid 600s,
Yeah.
you look to upgrade them, look to downgrade your sort of Kyle
Yeah.
Flanagan's, who's getting pretty close to where his final bit's going to be.
Definitely worth banking cash. So if you got like a Lussick and you got Smithies, it's worth maybe not going to a mid-ranger, just straight from them, downgrading to a cheaper like Blaze, banking the cash for a couple of weeks, and then you'll be able to straight swap almost someone.
Yeah, look, there's no point getting any mid-rangers that you can't feel can make you that 100k,
Now, not having Cleary and Hines in your team, you lose the easy captain choice. Me last week, Cam McInnes as captain, 70 tar.
Yeah, you know what? We said some great captaincy options on the podcast last
we
week.
did.
Um,
Who'd you go, May?
yeah, I went May. Yeah, I said May.
Chris was
Yeah.
Hines.
I mean, if only the all-out team could tell. Well,
Can we possibly do like a little rebranding of all that? Team?
yeah, we could be.
Mate, all our team's just a trial and error team.
It is a trial. and
Our
error.
redemption arc starts now.
You know what? We own our mistakes at the here at All Out.
Accountability.
We thrive off accountability.
You know what we do? We make memes about it.
Yeah, we do, and they do well, those memes. So you know
all
what?
content, boys.
Now, personally, who are you captaining this week?
Look, some tough decisions to be honest.
Plenty of tough decisions.
There's some tough decisions.
Yeah, I think it's Tohu Harris for me.
Yep.
But yeah, mate, I'm considering Ponga. Like, I
I'm
know
going Ponga.
a lot of people say you shouldn't captain a winger fullback because they can just come out with an absolute stinker.
Maybe
but
all that team should go Ponga this week.
Like,
I
if
just
we
don't know-
go-
I
if
just
we
don't know
go
whether-
Ponga against the Red V and he doesn't eat, it's retirement.
And we also know that means the Red V are the cursed team this year.
yeah, look, I just got to decide whether I'm ready to take the risk and pick a winger fullback or who.
I'm captaining Hughes. He's
Sam
starting.
Hughes in the starting team.
20 minutes.
I look down my roster here, boys, and it's just generational mid. Like, I just don't have a captaincy option whatsoever.
I think I'm going to go Ponga or Cam Murray.
What do we think of Harry Grant against the Broncos? Is he?
You know what? I think the Thursday night curse has been lifted. We've had Cleary, we've had May, we've had Tedesco go well on a Thursday night. We've had heaps of people go well.
Oh, I still don't trust it, eh? All Harry Grant needs is a try or like a few offloads. He's been void of that so far. But it's still getting 50.
Yeah, he's
so I
due.
think Grant's definitely
He's
an
due.
option. 100%.
All right, Mills, I think it's
Maybe
time.
Max.
I think it's time for my favorite segment of the week, the pod of the week and the multi of the week. So let's start with the pod of the week. I believe you
Look
have
at the
two.
camera, Chris.
I
Straight to
believe-
the camera.
I believe you have two pods of the week.
Well, yeah. Originally, I had planned to talk about Clint Gutherson, but obviously we've already spoken a little bit about Guther, so I might move on from him. This pod of a week is a very risky one. So if you don't have to take my advice here. So I could be completely wrong. It all depends on Des Hasler and what he's thinking. So my pot of the week, potential pot of the week this week is Aaron Clark.
Oh, wow. That is left field.
Someone get some stats.
Holy
So-
shit.
Aaron Clark right now priced at about $450, I believe.
Yep.
He is starting lock this week. He's been on the interchange for the past couple of weeks, but he's starting lock this week. Keenan Palacia is going to be out for a little bit. We don't know how long exactly, but he'll be out for a little bit. When
I'm looking at the stats now, Chris, no likey.
when Aaron Clark starts at lock, he averages 50. Is that right?
Yep.
You got the stats right there. Aaron Clark
50.1,
starting at lock averages 50. So right now that you're looking at, if he manages to keep that, you're looking at 150k you're making off him. He's also only owned by 0.5% of teams.
Yep.
So a huge pod there.
Chris came prepared.
Now, the only concern here, and again, as I said at the start, this depends on what Des Hasler's thinking. If Sam Verrills comes on for Chris Randall and Chris Randall moves to lock and then
Yeah,
Aaron Clark comes
right.
off. So again, we don't know what Des Hasler's thinking.
So were you tipping him to say 80 minutes, playing minutes?
80 or at least 60 plus.
His minutes last year, 53 on average when he started at lock.
So the thing with that is he averages 0.94 ppm. So points per minute is 0.94 at lock, which is
Because-
insane. If he's scoring, if he's getting 50 plus minutes, that's almost 50 points. If he's going, which potentially could be 60 plus, 70 plus, again, we don't know what Des is going to do, but you could be looking at 60s. You could be looking at 65.
Yeah.
Yep, well said, Mills. I
I was
like
going
it.
to say, if we're going to guess in the future, this is what we want. We want stats prepared,
Yeah,
written down.
agreed.
I really like it. Like 0.5% of teams, that is an ultra pod.
That is a pod. Yeah.
Compared to me and Quarter the preseason, Josh Curran pod. He was in like 25%.
Sam Hughes pod. And mate, like my multi of the week last week, brought that segment back. Absolutely flopped. I think I went like 1 from
I
6
forget what
for
it
the
was,
legs. Anyway, multi of the week. I've heard this multi and it's interesting.
I think we've only had one multi-win. It was
MPH.
MPH.
Yeah. Anyway, go for it.
Well, that hurts. Hearing MPH's multi got up. Yeah, look, again, this one isn't actually backed by stats. This one's more of a feel because, it's all about feel, right, Mick?
100%.
My multi of the week is in the Raiders-Eels game. I am tipping Raiders to win, and I'm tipping Xavier Savage for 2 tries.
Logic.
So that is paying $8.75. My reasoning behind that, Savage is marked up against Sevo. Look, based on the weekend, for those who watched the Tigers-Eels game, towards the end of that, Sevo looked slow. He looked out of it. His first game back from a suspension. To be honest, I thought he looked shit. And I think that Tigers targeted him a bit towards the end. And I think that the Raiders are going to do the same thing. And I think Savage is too quick. He's too agile. And he's just going to burn him. And Sevo's going to make some pretty poor reads all game. So 2 tries for Xavier Savage and the Raiders to win at $8.75.
Book it now.
I think that's for
Book it. Good stuff, Mills. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
No worries.
Thanks for coming.
No, it's great to be on here. It's great to
100%,
bring some
mate.
class to the All Out.
Is there anyone you want to shout out while you finish?
Yeah, mate. I just want to give a big shout out to Giacomo Keeble. He's really been putting in the yards, buying a house. So I'm really proud of him. Well done,